We are about to embark upon a series of strange and exciting, dangerous adventures. Adventures that will lead us to all parts of the world. We are about to embark upon a series of strange and exciting, dangerous adventures. Adventures that will lead us to all parts of the world.
Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we're looking at Possessive, Issue 1. This is a 3-part miniseries from Zenescope in 2021, written by Hans Rodenoff and Adam F. Goldberg, art by Eduardo Garcia, colors by Robbie Brevard, letters by Carlos Mangual, edited by Chaz Pangburn. Now the cover is good and it does relate to what's going on. So we've got this artist, his name's Todd, he's kind of a loser. His wife and him are separated and she's got custody of the kids. She wants to make the divorce official, but he's really dragging his feet. He's also kind of a drunk, and he buys this run-down old house that's been on the market for decades because he thinks that's going to save his marriage by having this ramshackle nightmare of a money pit to salvage his marriage somehow. And of course that doesn't really work, and he's got a lot of upkeep to do, so he hires these real shady contractor guys who wait till he leaves because he doesn't even have the money to pay them. He's got to go try and sell some paintings, and they're just going to loot the place. But turns out the place is really haunted. There's a very angry, vengeful spirit there that, it attacks them and bites one dude's head off. And Todd is oblivious because he's pretty stupid. So when he finally does see the ghost, it bites one of his fingers off. And he tries to unload the house, but that's not really working out. So he's left with a very dark ultimatum, and he tries to take the cowardly way, but doesn't quite work the way he thought it would. Which gives us a bit of a strange cliffhanger to part 2. And quite honestly, this was actually a pretty fun book. Todd's kind of an idiot, and he's definitely a drunken loser, but the story was fun. The art's pretty good. It's a pretty decent horror story. It's not going to appeal to everyone, but I thought it was solid stuff. Is it worth $6? I didn't feel cheated, but I tend to give a little bit of credit for indie books because their expenses tend to be a little higher, so I'm willing to cut a little slack there. But it is 36 pages of content, so you are getting a lot more than a regular comic, especially since books like The Avengers are only 20 pages now. Sure, 36 was much more likely to be the standard 20 years ago, but that was 20 years ago, and things have changed. But the paper quality is real good. I didn't have a problem with the art. I thought it was fine. It's definitely not for everyone, but it worked fine for the story, and the cover quality is good, and the cover actually kind of relates to what's going on. So I'd say check it out. It'll probably be out in trade paperback before too long, but in the meantime, if you find it, I would recommend it. I thought it was a fun horror book, so we'll see how it plays out, but so far pretty solid stuff. That'll do it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future reviews. If you'd like to help the channel out in other ways, pick yourself something up nice from the Teespring store. You can support me on Patreon or do a donation through Streamlabs, which accept PayPal, or just share the video on your social media. That helps a lot. And as always, we hope to see you on the next one.
We are about to embark upon a series of strange and exciting, dangerous adventures. Adventures that will lead us to all parts of the world.
Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we're looking at Possessive Issue 2. This is a 3-part miniseries from 2021, published by Zenescope, written by Hans Rodenoff and Adam Goldberg, artwork by Eduardo Garcia, colors by Robbie Brevard, letters by Carlos Mangual, edited by Chaz Pangburn. Cover's okay. It's kind of a take off of the old portrait studio things. We start off with our loser Todd being drunk as usual, and he runs into the ghost who has destroyed a bunch of his booze, and he's like, okay, well I can just have more delivered. He does that, then the delivery man meets a very unfortunate end. So what's he do? He decides to hire an exorcist. And that blows up in his face pretty royally. And he finally learns a little bit about the ghost and who she is and how she came to be where she is now. We learn that her name is Catherine Braithwaite, and when he catches her watching him sleep from the ceiling, because she could crawl on the ceiling, why not? He actually gets inspired and begins painting, and she likes one of his paintings. And that makes things get weird. She breaks his iPad for a specific reason. He signs the divorce papers and gets a gallery opening. Actually sells something, gets sober, shaves, and then gets to know the ghost a lot better in the biblical sense. But we're left with a twist ending. So is he going to choose between his wife and kids or the ghost? It's not looking good for old Lady Catherine there. But this is a really fun issue. This issue was better than last issue for sure. It's got a lot of really dark humor, but it really works for the story. This would actually actually make a pretty good movie. It'd make a good low-budget horror-comedy, because it has just enough horror elements and gruesome, bloody deaths to make it a horror movie, but also some really cheeky jokes that would make it a comedy. So I think this would actually be a really good low-budget film if they could find someone to do it. Like a sci-fi film, if it was done right, this could be a cult classic. As far as the comic goes, I don't feel cheated for my money. I thought it was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to issue 3. It's a silly book. Am I gonna read it again? Probably not for a while. Was it fun? Yeah, absolutely. It was a lot of fun. It's so much better written than a Marvel or DC comic that it's kind of hard to describe that the horror elements here are intentionally supposed to be slightly shocking, but also funny at the same time. And it's executed really, really well. So if you're looking for a good horror book to read, this one should probably be on your list. It's fun, it's not overly serious, and the art's not bad. It's at least as good as most indie books, and the colorist did a good job, and I thought the story's a lot of fun, so check it out. That'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future reviews. If you'd like to help the channel out in other ways, links to my Patreon, Streamlabs, and Teespring store are all in the description, and as always, we hope to see you on the next one.
We are about to embark upon a series of strange and exciting, dangerous adventures. Adventures that will lead us to all parts of the world.
Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we're looking at Possessive, issue 3. This is a 3-part miniseries from 2021, published by Zenescope, written by Hans Rodenoff and Adam Goldberg, art by Eduardo Garcia, colors by Robbie Bevard, letters by Carlos Mangul, edited by Chaz Pangburn. I don't know why there's an exclamation point there, but hey, whatever. So it looks like loser Todd might be getting back with his wife and kids, but he's kind of nervous about taking them into the house, which his wife really wants to see. But he, of course, is upset because, you know, it's haunted by the ghost that he was just having sex with last issue. So he tries to explain to the ghost what's going on, and she cries in blood, horribly, and then takes him up and drags him up to the attic and throws him out the window. Now, that won't deter someone as foolish and impulsive as Todd. He goes to the church, but the priest got killed in his house, so he has to go somewhere else. And that's when he finds a synagogue. Now, the rabbi gives him some ideas about what could be going on and how to stop the ghost, and it seems the ghost may be connected to an object in the house. So he goes over to the house to apologize to the ghost and throws something out the window that he thinks she's attached to, then moves his family in because Todd's not smart. This, of course, doesn't exactly work out the way he thought it would, and he has to make a bit of a rash decision to save his family from the ghost. And this is after he confesses to his wife that he had sex with a ghost and describes it a little bit. It's kind of weird. Well, we do get some resolution, but the story does seem to have a cliffhanger twist ending that sets it up for a sequel. I thought that was unnecessary. I think it would have made a better ghost story without that extension on there to try and make it a franchise of some kind, because I really don't think this needs a follow-up. It was a fun story with some solid art. The ghost looks really cool, but it really didn't need the sequel set up. Like I said, it was a fun book. I would recommend reading it. I think it would be better in trade paperback than it would be as single issues, although I did really like the story. It was a lot of fun and it would make a great horror comedy film. So is this worth tracking down? Yeah, I think so. Was it worth the $6 an issue? Probably not, but I don't feel cheated. I had a lot of fun reading it. Thought it was a goofy premise that turned out to be way more interesting than I expected it to be, and that it probably had any right to be. But this would probably make a better movie than it did a comic book, which is generally rare since comic books don't need a budget. But you could do this one on the cheap and make it really good. So I'd like to see that happen, but in the meantime, I'd say pick this up in trade paperback. I think that's the better way to read it, unless you find these in a dollar bin somewhere, in which case definitely snap them up. Thought the cover was a little disappointing and it didn't sell the book, but you really needed to read issues 1 and 2 before this anyway, so it really wouldn't matter which cover you got. The alternate cover was a little bit better, but I have the Rivero and Ivan Nunez cover. I think the Sean Chen one's a little bit better, but only because it doesn't give away too much. But this cover's fine, it just didn't really sell you on it. But like I said, the books are worth picking up. So if you find them, grab them up and get them cheap, or get it in trade paperback. But in the meantime, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future reviews. If you'd like to help the channel out in other ways, you can pick yourself up something nice from the merchandise store, or you can support me on Patreon with a monthly donation, or Streamlabs for one-time donations, and it accepts PayPal. Those links are all down in the description, and as always, we hope to see you on the next one.